Hello there. Today on Take Two, I am talking to one of my favorite people, Tianne Allan, and we're going to talk about yoga and self-care and mindfulness and all kinds of things that might help us get through this pandemic in one piece. And Tianne, from personal experience, I can tell you that over the last almost a year now, the one thing that has kept me relatively sane has been going to the mat to yoga, and again, with you and with other practitioners. So what's the role that yoga can play to get us through this pandemic?
Yeah, great question. And thank you so much. I'm very grateful and honored to be here with you, one of my favorite people. So thank you. Thank you for this time. And this boy, yoga secrets for this time, right? It's really important that we have, when there's so much going on around us, so much uncertainty, that we have a place to come and land each day, that we have a place to come and create some inner calm, some clarity, so that we can better navigate everything that's happening out there. And yoga brings that to us. It asks us to come in, to be mindful, to be present, to take care of ourselves so that we can get out there, navigate, and take better care of each other.
And so, Tianne, how do we do that? I mean, yoga is well known, but maybe not known particularly well. I find it bizarre that people still don't, that not everybody understands the benefits of it for that whole mindfulness, that calming yourself piece. So how do people get there?
Right. I think it's more common now to understand yoga as a great aerobic activity, or a great exercise activity, right? Which it is, of course. But its greatest gift is its cultivation of presence, of our ability to be present within ourselves, be mindful of how we're being, right? It's only when we are aware of what's happening within us that we can take better care of ourselves, right? So for example, we might be racing around trying to figure out, what we're doing for work, or how we're getting our shopping done when we can't go into all of that kind of stuff. And there's like 70,000 plus thoughts going on in our head every day, right? And more than half of them are repeats, right? What's going on? So how do we quiet that down so we can connect to our inner voice? We can find that deeper inner wisdom to guide us. Yeah. And so yoga, as we come to the mat, as we take that time out, as we step aside from the chaos, or as Dr. John Kabat-Zinn says, that the full catastrophe of living, right? Especially now, that when we take a step aside and we practice the breath, so important, to help calm the nervous system, right? Our nervous system works automatically. It's our survival state, but we have the ability to regulate it, to say, just a minute here. I've got to really calm down my nervous system. I'm going to do it with the breath. I'm going to do it with the awareness, and that quiets the mind. We come underneath all those crazy thoughts that are going round and round and round, and we start to connect to that deeper inner wisdom. Yeah, through the breath, through the movement, right? To help shift the nervous system, so that as we move off the mat, our whole being is more calm. Right? We go into movements that help us to release that tension, that help us to release the stress that lives in our body, right? It starts up here, but then it really lands and takes hold in the body. And without being aware of that, we can't take care of it, right? So yoga brings us that awareness, and then brings us the tools to help us downregulate the nervous system, to help cultivate that place of inner calm. So when we move off the mat, right, we're present, we have an inner calm, we're centered, right? And we can just navigate with that much more ease through all that is happening right now.
And one of the beauties, I guess, of all of us working from home and working remotely is that there's no reason that we can't quiet that nervous system by taking a little break, right? Like if I could leave here now and just go sit in the sunshine on the sun deck in the freezing cold. But there's no reason that we can't access that in a smaller way. So maybe that's one of the benefits of being here in this virtual space.
Absolutely. Like everyone else, as things shifted to more online to have access, I was resistant. I've been teaching in person for so many years, over 2 decades. And I love that one-on-one connection. Yeah. But here we are. And yoga asks us to show up, to do the best we can in this moment with what we've got. And this is it, right? The gift of this time together to connect with you and all those who are going to be listening and viewing this, and with each other, so that we can support each other, right? And it could be a 5-minute practice that you find on. There's so many practices online, and there's so many teachers, right? I'm teaching online. Many other teachers are teaching online now. That's what we've got available to us. And so it's just reach out and find who you resonate with. And it could be a 5-minute practice. It could be an hour-long practice, anything you want. There's a full buffet that's out there and available now. And you don't, like some students are saying, this is great. I don't have to leave my home, right? I feel safe in my home. I can stay here and still get all the benefits of being guided through the practice and supported. And if you're in a community, so we have a community that gets together every week, and that's just really nice to check in with each other, right? Just to be there and support each other in our lives in that time before the class, the time after, as well as doing the yoga.
So you and I have worked together for many years in the UBC Executive Education Leadership Program. And I love the way that yoga as a metaphor for leadership is just so on point. And I think it's even more relevant now because leaders are, as you say, we're all operating in this level of anxiety, and particularly the pressure on leaders who everybody is looking to say, how do we get through this? What happens next? So talk to me a little bit about yoga as a metaphor for leaders.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a great reflection. So leadership is a skill, right? Leadership is a skill. And like all skills, we need to learn them. We need to practice them. We need to entrain them in our body and our being so they flow from us naturally. So yoga, because it's a practice of awareness, of being mindful, right? We get to be aware of how we're being, right? So over 93% of communication is nonverbal, right? So we have these words that we're saying, right? We know the expression, are you talking out of the side of your mouth or are you walking your talk? Which means, are you embodying leadership, right? Not just talking the words, but are you embodying leadership? Well, how do we know? If we come to the mat and we really become aware of, yeah, there's the thought, well, let's go underneath that. And what am I sensing? What the qualities that I choose to be as a leader, to impart as a leader, are they really present within me? Right? And maybe they're not, right? And there are times when they're not, right? So when we take the time out of our day to be mindful, doesn't have to be a long time. It just has to absolutely be a time that we check in. Say, how am I being? So that when what we practice on the mat, so to speak, and that could simply be sitting, at your desk for 5 minutes before you begin your day, right? So in the time that you take aside, and you notice, yeah, I'm really present, and I'm really feeling that I've got a clarity of vision, that I am heart-centered, that I whatever qualities of leadership I have, I feel a sense of empathy, right? I'm not caught up in 1,000 things that are going for me. I'm really present, for someone else to listen. Like maybe it's there now, or maybe it's not, right? And if it's not, then in the yoga practice, we get to figure out with the tools how to come to that place. So I'm going to share some tools if it's okay. I'd love to share some tools.
Yeah, that would be
and
great.
really, let people experience it. So that not only are we practicing how do we choose to be as a leader, embodying it in our practice, but we're